Hey, what's up, guys? All right, I was in a lesson. We were doing something really cool that has stages of how beneficial this can be. It is a little bit of an exercise, but it's also incredibly practical. There's a little bit of theory that I'm going to get into that you don't need to understand to apply this lesson. So if I get into the theory, you start losing me a little bit, don't worry about it. Just catch right back up to what I'm doing physically here. Let's kind of get right into how this lesson kind of came about. Was we're jamming on something, and every time we went back to the C chord, I either played that, or this, or this, or this, or then this kind of weird one. All right, and then back to this C, which was kind of the original, and then so on, okay? And my student was just like, why are you never playing the same C every time? And it was just because of the jam situation that I wasn't playing the same C every time. But they weren't sure how I was able to just pick up and find each one of those. So we went into explaining how to find each one of those chords. We went into a few different chords kind of jumping up, which we're gonna do in this lesson. Now, really quickly, this is great because now if you have a C chord or a G chord or a D chord, whatever, A minor, whatever it is that you're playing, it opens up the whole guitar neck. So you can see where the chords are on this whole guitar neck. Now really quickly, getting into theory, I just want to show you how expansive this exercise can be, this lesson can be, is that's opening up your 1, your 3, and your 5, your 3 chord tones, your triad. All right, the notes that are in that C chord, okay? It's opening those up all over the guitar neck. Now, that's great and beneficial in itself, and you don't need to know that theory behind it necessarily right now, because you can see what I'm doing and understand the shapes once I go through it. But the reason that theory does become a little bit practical here is once you get the chord tones down, it's easier to find the rest of the tones in that particular key because you have rooted yourself in each one of the chords up the guitar neck. Okay, so just being able to find the chords means you can then find the rest of the tones that are in that key. Modes, so to speak. It's almost there's a great lesson to apply into when you're learning your modes. But if that's a little too far ahead, we're going to get into that in the end of the lesson. Let's just get right into the shapes. All we're really doing is taking our open chords and moving them up and down the neck. We're kind of using our first finger almost as a capo, so these are kind of like odd bar chords, but they all have familiar shapes as we're moving up. So obviously, if we have our C, nice and easy, right? Bar chord form of C, nice and easy. This next one I love. First of all, you guys can use this. I use this all the time. On this C, I'll use my first finger in place of my third finger, and my third finger now goes up here. I just love that sound, very Jimi Hendrix sound. But putting your pinky here, that's our root note, that's our C. What we're really doing is we're just mimicking this G chord shape, right? Because that's where all the open notes are. So we're just mimicking that. All right, and I'm not getting that down in the bottom, right? That 8th fret down the bottom. So it's just everything but the first string. All right, from there, easy. We're just going up here to our other form, our E form of a bar chord. All right, on that C. Now this next one gets a little weird because we're gonna mimic a D shape. So we're gonna kind of move up from here. If that's your C note, you know that's your C note from this first fret. So your first fret is an octave higher as your 13th fret. Stay with me. So what we're gonna kind of do is take this, our D form, and put it right there on the 13th, so we get 12, 13, 12. But to make that a fuller chord, I bar it on the 12th fret, pinky on the 13 on the 2nd string, and then these two on 8. I don't play the 6th string. All right, that's kind of like our D, in a way, form of C. And then once we get up here, we kind of like almost capo the 12th fret, and then we have back to our C, and back up again, if you can get that. Not really. So what we have is C, 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 and then if you can get that last one, if your guitar allows you to. And that starts opening up the neck. So all we're doing is we're mimicking our shapes for C. Our shape, this first bar chord form is just a bar chord form of an A chord that's just moved up here. That's what that bar chord is anytime you do it. All right, so then this, we're mimicking our G right here, right, on our 8th fret, but we need our first finger to capo. Full bar chord, or the E form of our bar chord for that. Our D form right here, but just to cover more ground, we have those two notes, two with our first finger, and then we're back again to C, okay? So that is the form. If that was too quick, guys, go back and just go through each one of them, because it really isn't that difficult. The main purpose of this as well is figuring out which note in each one of those forms is the root note, okay? And what you can always revert back to the open chord form of that. So let's just say I'm up here. You know that that's your root note, right? If you take it down to it, because if you take it down to an E, right, that's your root note. Where my pinky is right now is my root note, right? And then my first string is my root note, so same here. My E, and then where my pinky are all my roots, okay? That becomes very beneficial because when you get into this form that we did, right, which is like almost like our D form, where my pinky is my root note. Just because what I'm doing, I'm mimicking this D chord, bringing this D up here, so on a D, where my third finger is the root, so up here, that's a C note, so that's what I'm making this, that's what I'm basing this form off of, okay? So that is why this is, again, so beneficial. So if I were to do it with another form, let's just say we're gonna take G, okay? And our open chord form, bar chord. All right, same deal. Now, if you need to find the G, that's your root note. You know that down the bottom. So find that note here, and then you can base a D off of it. And that is where you get this form. From there, you could figure out where your C form is. That's your root note, right? All that's just your C. Then your A form of a bar chord, your normal bar chord on the 5th, and then from there, this form that we did before, where your first finger kind of covers what your third finger was doing, and then your pinky comes up here on the root, and then back again. So now you have G, 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 G. All right, moving all the way up. Let's take, and guys, I'm moving quickly because I want to get through some of these chords. So just go back and review and try to really, really grasp what it is that I'm doing. Because I am moving quickly on this, in this lesson on purpose. So let's just do D now. D. Now, if I were going to move this up now, I would just have this form. So it's almost like my C form of a D. So if you guys look, when we go from this form, all we're doing is we're taking that, we're barring, and then putting our first finger here. And that's how we kind of come up with our C form, okay? So it's just a C chord like this. You know, first finger back on that 2nd fret. C form of a D, so now we're still on D, so you get D, D. From there, you do your normal bar chord or your A bar chord form. From there, first finger where your third finger is. Right, just like we did before. So it's like our G form for a D. If you look, that's a D, root note, G, boom. Right, it almost acts like a capo. Full bar chord form for D. Now from there, we know that this is my D, so just to cover a little bit more ground. And now you could really see why when we're doing this form, where I'm covering those, putting my pinky there, why I'm putting my first finger here for all the other forms is those are normally open for a D chord. So my first finger now needs to play it on the 12th fret, the octave higher. And that's why that form comes in. And then from there, we go back to the C form and so on. So I really, really hope that this lesson helps you guys moving around the guitar neck. Just for right now, stick with the open, or I'm sorry, not the open chords, the major chords, because they're a little bit easier. Some of the minor chords get a a little bit tricky to kind of figure out a little bit. But let me know, because I wanted to go quickly, so some of this might be moving a little bit too fast. If some of you guys are almost there, there's just like a little bit of a disconnect, or there's one of the forms that you don't quite understand. If you don't understand why I'm calling this the A form, bar chord form for a C, if that doesn't make any sense, if you don't understand why this would be my C shape but for a G, let me know and I can go back in and explain it. Just because otherwise this lesson would have been like a half an hour. So anything that you need to know, just comment below and I'll get in and explain it. Probably just reply to you guys with a shorter video. And I really hope that this helps, because it's not just going to open up. I love using it in a rhythmic sense. So if somebody, if you guys are in a jam session and someone's doing just G to C, right, and they're covering this ground, this part of the guitar, there's really no reason to kind of jump in there. So, you can just jump in like... And knowing where all of those shapes are is super, super important. So I hope you guys like the video, and I will see you tomorrow.